Hey, what's up, guys? This is Dustin Garman with another episode of Tell Us About Yourself with my co host as well. Don't forget to throw chairs, by the way. All it was just a little curveball. Found out about 10 minutes ago. Nothing to be alarmed. It just we're just gonna reschedule him. His schedule's been kind of hectic here at Christmas anyway, and um, but anyway, we're gonna try to have Don Buckner and Robert Downey hopefully in January. I'm gonna reschedule them, of course. But today's episode, well, first let me get to announcements. Sorry. Um, also remember Bob Dunn um, in your prayers as well. Also want to say, well, I guess speaking of myself, like LFF wise, I want to thank Steve Riss for traveling down there. He took a 1 day trip just to go see Bob Dunn, and that kind of shows the love of this community. I mean, you can't really think of how many people that's created a card game actually goes and sees one of their players. That just tells you the love and the passion that we all have for one another. That we're not just players; we are family. Um, on another note, today's episode is going to be kind of different, but I think we can wing it.
Yeah, thank you,
Um,
Bombada, for first telling me that I was muted, but also for just wanting to jump in as an emergency guest. But today we are going to do something a little different. We're going to do an end of year review. Also, this is one of the few times that you get to ask questions to the host themselves. So you can ask us any question you would like to know. Right, Dustin?
yep.
Mm.
um, I'm looking forward to it. But year in review. Like I was telling Chibi a while ago, yes, I've been kind of absent. You know, I was absent 9 months of this year, but um, thanks to Chibi, you know, we can kind of just look back, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had fun the past 4 months that I've been here. Seeing everybody's smiling faces and rolling those dices.
So let's take a look at what happened at the start of the year. So tonight we get to ask you both questions. Of course, Bombada, you can ask questions to either of us, both of us, throw stuff at me. I mean, usual stuff.
I don't get nothing thrown at me. And also want to tell the folks that at the end of this, we're gonna have a claim the throne. No, I'm just playing Chibi.
But
Last week,
uh, how does the chibi use the bathroom? Very carefully, otherwise we fall in.
I just had to throw that out there. But anyway, you're in review, Chibi. How things getting kind of back to normal this year, and which we all love, and we don't even have to say the C word, COVID. Thank God, much anymore. I mean, it's still kind of out
Well,
there,
right
but
now
it's
it's
not
not
as crazy.
COVID. It's COVID and the flu,
Yeah,
and it's so much worse right now just because there's so many other things that people who haven't been dealing with germs for the last 2 years. Everyone's spreading everything right now. It's horrible.
yeah. My co-weather wise, my sinuses it eats me up.
But you know what's not horrible? The start of January for this year. Because we, during that first month, had so many players at Thursday Night Fights. It was ridiculous. Every single weekend was 24-32, 24-32, 24-32. And it just goes to show that a lot of people were still loving the normal cycle, especially because that was back when I was doing my TV's Seed of Power tournament. It was the last 3 weeks of that, and we had very good tournaments. But a couple of winners from those, we had Foxworthy winning with the Prince of Fashion. That was a good one because Fox never gets to play. Another good one was the last one, which gave Bob Dunn his entry into the Seat of Power tournament for this year. Sadly, this year's has been postponed until he is up and ready to play again because no one wanted to play without him. But I mean, that tournament's been going on as long as most cheetah events have. But it's outside of my control, so no one can blame me. I feel the blame already.
Looking, Chibi, looking back at this year, just your opinion, who is probably, I guess, with the Rising Star tournament coming into effect and, coaches and stuff like that, who is a breakout star that you would say of this year? That kind of, when you think breakout star of 22, who comes to mind?
I mean, there's so many players that have made huge leaps and bounds on how well they've been playing. It still will end quicker than a cheetah event. Yes, no, it definitely will because it will actually end. Not everyone just leaves. But one of the people that I think has grown by leaps and bounds lately is Candy Ma'am Angela. She has been on a ridiculous roller coaster of winning multiple titles, of winning large events, getting CCC wins, or CAC. But like, she is definitely a good, a very big improvement from years before. Granted, towards the end of the year, she hasn't had as much of an influence, but she's definitely made a bigger impact than her husband has. Another one, uh, sorry, hearing crazy bad babies in the background. Even just looking back at my records from this last year, you see a few names every single time. We see Chris Pate, we see Hold the Line Harry, we see the Grump, we see Ken Fouché. Ken Fouché was, if I'm not mistaken, last year's. But other names that we always still see. The Alec Ventresca. Alec Ventresca has probably made more top cuts than anyone else just because he's here every Thursday. Otherwise, a lot of the players that were doing really well early on started dropping off just because they could not do the weekly events as much, and you'd only see them every now and then. Like Carlos Lumbre, amazing player, was up in the top all the time. I have not seen him in like the last 4 weeks, and by 4 weeks I mean 4 months. But I remember him being very good into as a potential, because in my mind we have those that have already achieved great. Like we have the Grump, we have you Horse, we have John P. We have those names that see, Bombada, you post that, but you don't even listen to what I was literally saying right then. Because, there's the people that I don't expect to do well and are surprised when they do well. And then there's the people that I just expect greatness. I expect greatness from John. I expect it from the Grump. I expect it from you, Horse. I expect it from Hold the Line Harry. Kurt Polka, I expect greatness. Bob Dunn, I expect greatness. Tate, I expect greatness. When it's a name that isn't one of those names that's getting top cut every single week, that's when you have to go, this is breakout player of the year. This is rising star. This is something. Like Alec V is definitely in that in-between place where he really should be thought of as greatness, but he hasn't like broken that ceiling. I don't know. There's just the feeling of people who that you expect, and I don't think Alex there. But another one that's been coming back in, who I don't think is going to be like breakout star of the year, but is definitely a name to remember, is in the picture of things in the coming year. Stephen Owens. Stephen Owens was having great showings in the early year and is ending his year pretty well. He's had a bunch of second places in Monday events and Thursday events. He's been doing a very good job there. So yeah, looking at my notes from the beginning of the year, the Penguin is a difficult subject for me. I know he does great at locals, and he has quite a few good tag team wins, tag team achievements, but I don't have him in any of my records for events. Like, I think I've seen him once or twice, and in them he's made top cut. He's a good player, but it's not as much of an effort as I would think the people that show every single week, or the people that I expect to be. Not saying that the Penguin is not good. I'm just saying I don't see him in that question of who is breakout star of the year. Sorry, Penguin. I hope you're getting better too, because I know you were having a fever. Please be better. We need our packages for Christmas.
What Super Show was this year? What is either a box set or some kind of, what really made a big impact, like SRG wise, like was it the Kickstarter or
I mean,
what?
anytime we get a Kickstarter, it's always going to
Yeah,
make a giant impact in the
yeah.
game. Granted, this last year's was the Ultra Cosmic Crusaders. That was also the, refresh my memory, what was the main tag, or the main set in that? Because the Ultra Cosmics was the add-on. Brain fart.
Probably. You're fine, Jimmy, but probably my favorite cards that like the Titanic Cosmic the 20, the 22 through the 24, the
That's right. It was the Time Warp. Obviously, I forgot it because we've been warped through so much of this year. This year feels like it was the blink of an eye. Yes, Dr. Dick versus Medieval Jester. I thought it was Prank. I think the promos have made less of an impact from that than Prank. Yeah, I think that that box set as a whole didn't make as much of a splash as anyone was expecting. The stops from that one have definitely started seeing play. But I think a lot more of the Cosmic Crusader box set, Ultra Cosmic Crusader box set, has seen a lot more play than the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I agree. And like even for me, one of the competitors I loved was Pluto. I think he's really fun. Like he's fun. You can shuffle your hand, and especially if you roll your five. A lot of people, we had Chris Bridges on the show, and he was saying kind of like his way of playing was kind of like similar to mine in a way. Some of the competitors I use are people that have low, that their gimmicks are based on their low skill. Being able to draw, being able to shuffle back, or even sometimes even a +2 to, on the next row or something similar to that. So for me, I really enjoyed when I was getting back into the fold playing with Pluto.
I mean, yeah, there have been good, like Next Supreme is a very good competitor, but she hasn't made a giant splash yet. Like outside of when she was released, she made a bit of a splash. everyone makes a splash as soon as they come out. Not
Yeah.
everyone stays in the limelight. Like, I'm looking back at more records, and I'm just seeing. In the middle of the year, we had Booker, Grump, Alex, and Treston. Loudmouth, Matt Barone, hold the line here. I mean, Danny Limelight is still very good, but yeah, when's the last time you saw him played in a Thursday night event? And I know sometimes they are actually played in Thursday night events. I mean, make top cut of a Thursday night event. Grump, Mark Perry, Brian Lee. Brian Lee, if he wasn't a rookie, I would say that he was definitely making that breakout star. Kate, when he was playing Rec before he got his Ricky Riot back. Canoli has had a ridiculous year this year. Won the World Heavyweight Championship. He is now the
And
current tri-state or triad champion.
that's another thing that I enjoyed. Even though I was kind of like in the shadows, I was kind of hearing. I was talking through like Ken Fouché and a few others and stuff like that. I was hearing names, and even like now, Big Match P. He's got the world championship. The big guy had a shot for it. I like hearing, names that hadn't really gotten that opportunity to really come into the fold. And the world heavyweight has really made a big I think a big impact this year, judging by like new people getting shots and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, this last year has opened up for the world title. People that you wouldn't expect got shot. Uh, the was Canoli. He lost it to Doug. He lost it to Bob. He lost it to Booker at Oktoberfest, and then Pete won it right after that. We've had probably the most title changes in a year in this past year. Like, was Kurt Polka this year? I forget. Because John P was also this. I mean, I think he started. Right? Polka won in September. Okay. So yeah, Canoli, Doug, Bob, Booker. 5 changes in 1 year. Ridiculous. And also awesome, but sheesh, so many times.
And one thing I like about Mr. Vegas, Doug Saunders, is I love his promos and stuff like that as well. And which he's always been known to promo and stuff like that. I like when you put a lot of effort into promo, and not saying that not a lot of people like to promo, but I really like it when you try to create stories, and a lot of times you talk smack, which is 95% of us, but I love to hear promos and stuff
95,
like that as well.
100%.
Well, I was trying to give a little leadway, but I was just being too nice.
Yes,
It's Christmas.
it is. And right now we're listening to very back in how far back? Oh, this was when I did a Monday night. That was Kate Grump playing as John P. Flyboy when he came out. Who remembers when Flyboy came out and everyone was like, "This is the greatest competitor ever"? When was the last time you saw Flyboy play?
Honestly, for me, I'm not even. I think I've seen him posted a few times. I don't actually know the competitor, honestly.
Yeah, but how long ago was that? I'm looking at June right now. We got Trump ruling the summer. Summer of Trump. Alec B always being on his heels. Oh, see, yeah. He hasn't been like I haven't seen a lot of him since like September. Actually, you know what killed it? The boss beat line. I think that's when we started to see less of it. I mean, now that I think about it, I don't expect great things from Cheetah, but I always expect Cheetah to do well in any tournament. I just oh, Starscream. Thanks for taking the dive with me and making me lose my hearing for a bit. Ow. I forgot how many fly at me at once. It's been so long since someone described. But yeah, we got Chris Pate, we got Ian Chambers, John P. Ow. And Johnny, welcome. Thank you for throwing a bunch of signs at my head. But yeah. Pate getting multiple wins in a row. Pate almost was able to. Thank you, horse. All aiming at my head too now. I don't like a magnet. Then in August we had some sense. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was talking so nice things about Ian. I will never say nice things about Ian again. So August 21st, Ian won a tournament as Gia. Who would expect that? I mean, who wins tournaments with Gia? Not like she's a competitor that we expect newer players to use. And Dustin, do you think that Gia needs strategy to play, or do you just stop everything?
I'm trying to think back because there for a little bit, I had her built. I didn't use her a whole lot, but back when I would playtest a whole lot, I used to get to where I would playtest and make a deck as soon as somebody would come out. Gia, for me, I would kind of. I want to say, I mean, there's part of strategy with it, but I remember for me, it was mainly just trying to. I would play like in the 10 through 12s, try to make turn row cards a factor. But other than that, it's hard to describe. She's kind of like a weird. It's a weird vibe character for me. Like it's kind of for me. Like I said, I try to run, like turn row cards and stuff like that, mainly in her at the time. But honestly, I don't see how people really pull it off as much as they do.
I mean, the fact that anytime you lose a turn roll, you get +1 if it's a grapples with this card and all the other stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, she just has a nice little tool. And
Yeah.
I mean, drawing every time you stop a card benefits you in a way that you get to use no draw stops and still get benefit, or you can use draw stops and get double the benefit.
It's pretty good strategy wise. It's a pretty good balance.
Especially now with the making of these 13, 14, and 15s that have each player draw. Now you have a deck that can literally draw off of every stop. Horse, I either haven't gotten to it yet, or I looked over it because it was just one of those events. Yes, I know. Congratulations on finally defeating your fear of submission match. You broke the curse.
I still haven't broke the fear of tables.
I mean, that there's some things that will never, you can never get rid of the fear of. And I think that tables match with Edo, like,
It
it
It still
changed.
messes with me today.
Dante playing Alien Invader for the in September. Or no, that's not. Man, that's not. Piglet doing well. Neko. There we go. There's another person that people don't fear of tables or fear of nerds. I think it's just next time you're having a tables match, put some freaking tables in. Like, whose choice was that to not play tables in a table? Hey, antagonist. Yeah, no, Neko has actually done quite well in tournaments when she's shown up. Sadly, at the end of the year, she has to get a job and actually not enjoy time with us. We miss you, Neko. We need you in our Zoom rooms more. See Yasmin, Grump, Cannoli in the no DQ tournament. Eddie Fury with the new EC3. EC3, the new EC3 especially, started to put a big hamper in towards the end of the year. What do you think of him?
Um, I hadn't built him yet. I've got him in there. I've taken a look at him. I don't think. Part of me, I don't think it's as crazy. It's still a pretty good gimmick wise and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to really sit down because I just got him not long ago. Like it's not even been a month. But um, he's one of those I kind of want to sit down and maybe test. I make a few like test decks. But what's your thought on him?
I mean, he is definitely up there in the power levels of like I'm not putting him in the same power level as like Snake Pit, but he's
Yeah.
definitely like just below that level. His finishers are ridiculous. His effect to get his boost up is not that difficult to trigger, and he does especially well in stipulations that reduce the hand. Like he can get very, very. Antagonist
Yeah.
is not better than Snake Pit. Those are fighting words. Also, you're a summoner, not a ninja. You haven't made ninja skills.
We
What
have
would you think
a
of ninja
question
skills?
from Dark Prince.
Oh, we have a question from Dark Prince. Go ahead, Dark Prince. What are you gonna ask?
Oh, what's up, guys? I'm actually with these people as well, so I'm going to ask simple questions for both of them. And yes, I'm not working, so I'm just helping. First question for you, though, Shibby. If you had a tag team partner and you went for tag team titles, which tag team titles would you go, and which company would you go to?
If I had to choose a tag team partner, I would choose Dominic Mysterio and we'd steal the Raw tag. You gotta add more
Okay,
hate onto the hate.
understandable, understandable. Now, Mr. Dustin Garmin. Garmin. Same question for Chibi I gave him. If you were in a tag team and you had to bring in a tag team partner for yourself, which tag team titles would you go after and which company will you go for?
Hmm. Probably to answer your question, I'm gonna be honest with you. I generally would be okay if I didn't go for the tag team championships, but do like a kind of like a mixed tag match, and actually my tag team partner, I would love to be like this crazy character and have Lexa Bliss to be my tag team partner.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Good questions. Okay, guys, carry on and catch you all later, SRG Universe.
See you later, Mikey.
See ya.
just say good question to his own question?
I think so.
Okay.
But he said I didn't want to take the time to think about like tag team titles and stuff like that. So I was kind of thinking of trying to think of my character in Super Show like GPS. I would love to have a crazy, have the Lex Bliss kind of like the, when she was dark, and have kind of like a mix.
Yep. No, that would be fun. I'm
Yeah.
going to definitely tell your girl.
It's just
So
a tag
on top of
match.
that, since we're already at the halfway point, I'm gonna go ahead and use the normal questions on you, Dustin.
Oh
So
god.
we're gonna go through them one by one. Starting off with the best: pineapple or sheep?
Um, let's see here. I'm gonna go with pineapple. Not that I like it on pizza, but I
Oh,
like
no
it
one likes
just by itself.
it. Okay.
Mm.
And then we have horse or shark.
Bombada, I mainly remember the first thing I saw was that horse head, and he is known more for the horse head. So
And then
horse.
we have Candy Ma'am or Candyman Dan.
I, I'm gonna go with Candy Ma'am.
Candy Ma'am. And then the last one that we added last week, the Nightmare King or the Dark Prince.
Um, I gotta go with Nightmare King,
The classic.
the
Makes
OG.
most sense. All right, going back into looking at some of these tournaments. Who remembers the Wheel of Pain? I do. I loved it. Why? Because I made it. Stipulations in that one: exploding cage, submission, special guest referee myself, Ring of Fire, nursery rhyme match. I didn't even know what that was, but I put it on my thing. Claim the Throne. Claim the Throne was good for the finals. Uh,
I've got a question for you,
what's up?
Chibi. I haven't seen them done in a while, but to me they were kind of fun. I think back in the probably the first year of, or somewhere in the mid 2020 year, I was seeing them. Which I haven't been in the fold in a while, but I enjoyed having kind of like the submission match, like the strike match and the grapple match. Are those still kind of
Those
like a
are not
thing?
real things.
Well, no, but they were kind of, we were having online events where we would have those, and I was
That there
wondering
was
if.
one specific person that was making those into events. He's no
Mhm.
longer here.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
Sorry,
no,
I couldn't
there
remember.
there has not been an actual strike match stipulation made or a grapple match stipulation made. Mainly because most of those are just like
Yeah.
we have submission matches because submissions are one of those ways of actually ending wrestling matches. Like outside of just hitting them with a finisher, who's won with just strikes?
Um, mainly competitors I can think of that mainly go for strikes is Hot Water, Vanilla Gorilla. Um, let's see here. There's a. It's like a backwards. It's not Pavarino's character, but it's not Gargano. But I can't think of the character. She flips to and picks up a grapple as well. Or not grapple, but a strike. I think I can't remember the competitor off my head, but there's a few.
There's a couple of competitors, but yeah, most of the recursion gimmicks are on the strikes. So that seems, yeah, Ember Wolf is who you're looking for.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
so that's why it's a little weird to play onto that. And then the grapples, I mean, grapples finish matches all the time, but it's just one of those. It doesn't have the history that submission matches.
Yeah.
Like you think submission matches, and you're like, oh yes, you can think of the big ones that have happened in the. Who wants to see a fight that's literally just a bunch of, okay, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit. I mean, it would be an interesting concept. You can only play strikes or stops for strikes.
What would you say would be the craziest stipulation that's been used this year in tournaments? I, for one, have seen like because I've went through two of them so far. Is probably the craziest one. I think, in my opinion, and is always the everybody match.
You think the everybody match is a crazy stipulation. The buddy building match is one of the best stipulations that's ever been printed.
I'm saying craziest, but isn't the like it's the one that blows up finishes right like out of the game completely correctly?
Now. So the buddy building match is literally who can roll better because you just need to get your 3 finishes in play, no
Yeah.
boosts, or there are boosts but no stat boosts, and anytime you blow up a card, the crowd meter increases until it hits 5, where you can no longer blow up cards. So it has a actual end out, unlike other matches that can go forever. The craziest match that has been made is the sketchy backyard ring, bar none. Oh my god! Any match that you can have where both players in it lose, and it's in the tournament finals. No, yeah, like those
You
are
can
scary
both
matches.
like lose. I haven't
Yes,
seen one.
I've ran 2. It's very scary because you're just like, please actually win this match so I don't have to give this first place to third place. I mean, honestly, how do you expect people to have trust in you when, how did I not even make places? I lost everything because of that. Boo, boo, boo. I mean, Candyman Den had a good showing for a couple of matches, but it's been Candyman and Candyman swapping off parental duties, so you haven't seen them all that much. Alex P winning with AR Frost. Tournament of Champions, which is still waiting for Bob Dunn and Chris Pate to play their dark. Once Bob is well, they will play against Johnny Eldorado, an exploding cage match. And then the main event, one of them will meet Candyman Dan, seeing if Candyman Dan can win 2 seats of powers back to back. Let's see. Lights out tournament. Chris Payton. Matt Perrone with Mr. Pop and Twist. Matt Perrone with Mr. Pop and Twist is a very scary competitor. My goodness. He comes out of nowhere just winning. Okay, how did I have
I,
free space get second place? But I am confused. Either way, don't matter. Go ahead, Dustin. You're saying?
I was trying to hold on a minute. I got lost my train of thought there for a minute when you were
No
talking
problem.
about the free
While
space.
I'm going through it, let's see. We got Loudmouth. Loudmouth using old donation with the new kick. Also, very good. Had a very bad showing the other week, but he's usually on point. So Mark Perry got a win this year. Collector got a win on the secondary Wheel of Pain. Grump, Pate, Perry as King Pink. I mean, when's the last time you saw King Pink actually?
It's been quite a good while, but he's good. I remember. I remember 2020 he was used a lot. I remember. I think that was sort of kind of getting in the where they were coming out, but he's really underrated for sure. One competitor that's kind of came into the fold here recently that I think, just my opinion, like the strike it might be a little bit too much, just my opinion, but the new Cheshire.
New Cheshire's gimmick works off so many cards that you're not even thinking about. His
Yeah.
new cards that he's printing, which all work with him, giving him multiple ways of just completely winning a game out of nowhere. And if they don't win the game out of nowhere, they're still triggering gimmicks. It's ridiculous, man. It's a very thinking man's competitor, which is weird when you're talking about someone like Cheshire, who I don't even think is really thinking at all, because he's crazy. All right, who remembers a couple of weeks back when the SRG Boss and me ran the Thursday night fight Boss Beats event, and Boss ends up winning his own event? I remember it.
I had to miss that.
I didn't like it. Boss was like, "Hey, you can play in your own event." It's like, no, I'm not going to play in my own event. I'm going to be streaming everything. You play in my own event. Okay, and then I win.
Who was you using?
Jockey. Yeah, horse. Jockey won a tournament. Yay! After being 2020.
Give me 1 second, buddy. My battery's
no
dying. 1 sec.
Jockey winning the tournament after the 2020 is the more impressive. What else did we have? We're already into December. We have Kate, Yasmin, Masterone. Press 1P, stealing the TLC one. This multiplayer one. Seasons beating. Have you guys been having fun with seasons beatings? I know I have.
I'm still here at Chibi.
I know.
just had
That gets us all the way to last week with the Claim the Throne event. Oh my gosh. Who would have thought me deciding to change one little rule to make things go quicker would completely destroy people's weekends?
my see, I wasn't actually, for me, I wasn't upset. I just wasn't in there when I heard the ruling of the +1 to breakout. I just had never heard it played that way because, see, the Claim of Throne was created. It used to be.
Yeah, no. The original Claim
match.
the Throne was made to be the official ladder match. It came out of KSW. Yeah, no. I remember that it is the King's baby, but you know what? That
I was just trying to. Oh, go ahead, buddy.
It's just that a lot of these multiplayer matches go on way too much longer than they actually need to because people play bad politics. And people who don't understand how to play politics play worse politics. And they go, oh, I'm not playing anything because I don't want to piss off so-and-so. And then so-and-so is going, well, I'm going to play cards until I win. No, so-and-so, you can't play cards until you win. Then I lose. Yes. Shock Pikachu face. It's just when people don't understand what they're actually doing, things go crazy. Like going back to the previous Claim the Throne event that I did, which is kind of why I even decided to use this rule. We had John Press 1P. We had Neko. We had Ian Chambers. And we had Piglet. And Piglet had that game won in so many different ways. One turn is all he needs to win. And instead of stopping the finish that Ian can definitely stop, he lets John P hit the finish on him so he can get rid of all of his finishers that are in play because he stupidly put all of his finishers in play. A mistake that John P. had made even earlier in the event that he was freed from because Neko apoc'd him. Now, I can give some justification to Neko's use of the APOC because she knew that she was in a lose-lose situation and she needed someone to start causing chaos. And who to cause chaos better than John Press 1P? But it basically took her out of the match anyway. But the fact that Ian let himself take a finisher from John was ridiculous. Hey, no, you didn't hear about this first one. Dustin?
Oh, my bad. I didn't know you was asking me. No, I haven't. Sorry. You're going back
Well,
and
I'm
forth
looking
with
at your
course.
face and I'm just like, oh, he's just taking this in for the first time.
I was following you. I just wasn't sure if you were asking me. No, I had no clue about that.
But
I just know probably the ladder matches that we used to have. It was unreal. Like you would go to most of the ones that we played. It was always like 4 to 6 players, and it would wind up being like a Crowdmere 6 or 7 all the time. It was really hard to escape it, so quick. So that's why I kind of, which granted I wasn't in the Zoom at the time when I heard about the +1 to break out, but that's why I was so like, whoa, what just happened? Because I've never heard one end that quick.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's nice that it ended that quick too. Yes,
Yeah,
we have Crowd Meter 7 for it for a reason, but
yeah.
I think people get too comfortable in the fact that, oh, I'm just gonna get help kicking out, and if we don't match up in one of these 3 times, especially with 4 other people, that's just bad luck.
And plus, it's like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And my first
Exactly.
thing I'm thinking of is 5 o'clock in the morning. I got to wake up.
I mean, half of the people have work in the morning. The other half of the people don't have anything to do, so they don't care. People are gonna elongate the game just because they can, and it makes people miserable, and it makes it to where people can't have fun. I know that it's not in the spirit of the original way of playing it, but I think that this is a rule that'll keep us from going into 3, 4 o'clock in the morning territory, which is definitely much better than not keeping the mindset up. Also, I mean,
One thing,
forcing people to play stops a lot quicker is definitely. Go ahead.
one thing that I also liked is, judging from last night, because last week I wasn't able to play. It was my finals week, but one thing I did like Smith does is kind of like a little time limit thing, on the bullet rounds and such. I think, the only thing I didn't like, which I don't think we did it last night, of course, but I don't like setting where you can only look at a discard pile 3 times because a guy like me, I forget. It's
Oh,
easier in person, of course,
oh,
but
of course, but I mean that kind of rule in person is also a pain in the butt. Like you're saying, it's like it's right there in every game, every card game that has ever been made outside of formats where discard is hidden. Discard is considered world knowledge. You
yeah.
can always look at their discard pile. But all these other games, you can call slow play for anything like that. But let's face it, we know the players that play slow. I'm looking at a couple of them in the chat right now. I say that
I'll
even
just
though I
single
haven't looked
nobody
at the
out.
chat. Yeah, no, there's at least one in there. I will let you figure out who is. But it just happens. They have to think about things because they really want to win. Of course, why would you not want to think about things if you really want to win?
Yeah.
Right? Why wouldn't you take your time? You're paying for an event. You want to get through the entirety of the event. You want to have the best chance of winning said event. Forcibly putting you on a time limit does not help anyone win the event. And because of how the pods are set up, most of the time, putting an artificial time limit on the event either makes people make big mistakes that they wouldn't have made before, forcibly causes multiplayer matches anyway that you still have to wait on anyway, or other issues because people can't play. We've been having more new players playing in these events than ever before. And when you have new players, I'm not going to put you on a forced time limit because you don't know that
Yeah.
kick, snap kick, rib jab are all the same card. I don't even know if rib jab is on the same line. My point exactly. Who knows that rib jab is not on the same line? Anyone?
It's not.
Anyone? Exactly. I make points by screaming into the emptiness of space. Like, I mean, we got Cosmic Collection. If you didn't come out when Cosmic Collection was released, would you know that it's a number?
Mm.
When was the last time you saw someone play Irish Whip? Not today, jokers. That's a new one. Dustin, do you know what punch is at number 4?
Sorry about that. I had to plug my
It's
headset.
alright. Dustin, do you know how many punches are at number 4?
I want to say 3.
Can you name them?
No, not on top of my head.
The ones that I can think of are Haymaker Punch and Pixel Palace. I'm almost positive that there's another one too, but I just can't. But yeah, there's cards that no one's seen. There's new arts coming out for every single card. There's like 14 different versions of Kick now. If you include the original backing ones.
And you sort of mentioned it earlier, which we don't see Limelight used a whole lot as much, but the cards that usually go in him, like the +1 to breakouts and stuff like that, that's breakout cards this year seem to be like a big thing as well.
Oh yeah, no. Breakout cards, breakout increasers keep you in the game longer. You
And
don't,
the crazy,
you don't care if they help
sorry.
your opponent. They're just keeping you in the game.
And then the new 22 through 24, where like now we just saw them come out this week, but which there's other cards as well, like the shuffle 2, draw 2, and then if each player rows a certain thing for turn row, they break out, or
They get extra
+1 to the
breakout.
yeah.
It's actually when you would roll for breakout. If you roll that stat, it gets plus.
Yeah.
But
Those cards now are those are really coming into effect.
They protect you against 11s usually, or they make you have 2 10s to break out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different ways of playing the game. You can definitely play the game by being hyper aggressive. You can definitely play the game by being hyper defensive. But both of those strategies take different amounts of time to actually play the game. There have been plenty of times where I have gone into Zoom rooms after 45 minutes going, what crowd meter is this game at? 1, 2, okay. Of course, 10, 20 minutes later, it's done. But it's just, these matches are much more complicated than most people are giving them credit for. Like, have you actually watched an Alec Ventresca versus Hold the Line Harry match?
Not yet.
You can go back on some of my streams and check them out. But those matches are very methodical and back and forth and thinking about moves that are going to go 3 turns away. In most cases. Sometimes it's literally just, come on, Harry, pick which one you're burying. Like, you don't know I'm going to bury. 5 minutes later, pass and bury. Discard. But this year has definitely been the most entertaining year for me. Mainly because I've been streaming the entire time. I have been doing tournaments this entire year. If I look back at how many I have done for just this, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51 tournaments.
Wow.
Granted,
And
those are not all Thursday night events. And one of those tournaments is my Seed of Power channel. So I probably like 48 weeks out of the year I have done a Thursday night event. I didn't do one on Thanksgiving. I didn't do a few while I was traveling, but I also did a couple of Monday events. I did a Saturday event. I've helped out on so many events. This has
and
been a very
also
fulfilling year.
and also, folks, I just want to say while Chibi's talking about that is don't forget to thank the streamers and the ones that hold these tournaments. Chibi being one of them, and to be honest with you, I'd be bored without you. You know, just doing this show in general and doing the Thursday nights that you do, and um, Smit's doing those Monday nights and
Call them
different things as
Finch.
well.
Finch.
I know. I'm sorry.
Must you make fun of him even more? Why? I know. I shit on him.
but but yeah, it's just in general. Well, all I can say is thank you so much because it keeps me when I'm caught up with school and stuff like that, and which here at Russville, I don't have that many. I don't know a whole lot of people that play Super Show. Which Ken Fouché, he's 20 minutes out, but it's not like we have locals here, so um, it's a real blessing to be able to play these tournaments. It really is.
Well, it is always my pleasure running this stuff. I enjoy, like I said, it is fun to make as many people happy as I can, and definitely helping out on all of the shows, running tournaments. I get to make 20 something people happy. Usually, I'm sorry about last week, guys.
Better
If I
be.
can't say that one enough. It's like, I'm going to keep using that rule, but I'm going to advertise it better this time. I am sorry that it didn't get advertised enough. But yeah, I enjoy doing this stuff way too much. I can't wait to go into next year doing as much as I can. Probably a little less just because there's a baby.
Yeah.
There's a little or two.
And if you don't care, Chibi, I was gonna kind of go into, which next week's episode, folks. I'm gonna go ahead since we're kind of time wise.
Yeah.
I was gonna go in and I was gonna mention next week, folks. You're not gonna want to miss. We're gonna have superstar Anthony Gangone.
The one above.
I'm really looking forward to it, and I've been trying to study a little bit because being down here, it's kind of hard to, most when he was in House of Glory and shows like that, it's hard for us to, catch him. But of course, you've got YouTube, and you can. I think there's a wrestling app that you can get on, if I'm not mistaken, and I've used it before, and you can watch matches as well. But I'm looking forward to having it. Moving forward, January, I know Chibi has mentioned I'm gonna regular schedule people. I know the third we're not gonna have an episode because it's right after New Year's, and for me it's the start of my new school year, it's my new semester. So I kind of want to see what my schedule's like. Not saying we're not gonna have shows. We're gonna have shows, but it's just this first day, and I kind of want to see how what my schedule's gonna start looking like with these. I'm just doing 2 classes a week, so it's not that bad. But I think the 10th, I think the 10th, 17th, and stuff like that is we're gonna do it on the fly because I know Chibi, you mentioned that
Yeah,
your
no, the baby
baby's
might
due
come
in
during that
January.
time. So if we don't have a show that week, I'm sorry, but once again, we'll play it by ear as it
First thing I'm gonna say is the first episode that I will say that we'll have is I've got scheduled on the 10th of January is gonna be Dizzy herself. I will say that.
Dizzy
Um,
derailed.
I was talking to her last night and she was mentioning the show and I was like, "How would you like to be on it?" Of course, I'd love to have her. So I've got her scheduled, but as when I book, if something was to happen and we have to cancel an episode, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move everybody up. Like the person that we had to cancel on that day is gonna be the following week. So it's not like they're not gonna be able to be on the show.
As we can. So, folks, thank you for once again joining us for Tell Us About Yourself. This ending up being a week in review and looking at the year in total. Also, just shooting the shit because
I just
it's been a week.
I, I want to say also this week everybody have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy family time and of course look for some of these sales that they have. I mean, don't forget stocking stuffers and stuff like that. On I got mine today. I'm happy with it.
Yo,
But looking forward to everybody have a happy new year. I know we've got a show next week. I just want to tell folks that maybe can't catch next week because the 27th is right after Christmas. But everybody have a good Christmas.
and can I get a bye, man?
I'll see y'all later.
Bye.